Most purpose-driven entrepreneurs aren't scared of the camera, aren't scared of recording another video or posting consistently. They are scared if the content gets in front of the wrong eyeballs and then potentially goes viral on the wrong end of the internet, or if it gets in front of the right eyeballs but people don't resonate. But this is the what I call genericity trap. Yeah, that's actually a word. I looked it up. We don't use it a lot, but let's call it genericity trap, which keeps people on a loop. Because you might feel disappointed that people love your content, they tell you how amazing and inspirational your message is, they like it, they engage with it, but anytime you plug your offer, only a few people buy, or it's crickets. You might lose momentum because you say, well, I've been posting for the past 2 weeks and nothing seems to land, nothing seems to resonate, so what's the point of me posting yet another time and face that disappointment again when no one seems to reach out or book a call when I'm asking them to do that in my CTA. And you're letting what happened in the past, or more like your interpretation of your past experience with posting content, dictate how you show up the next day, which may get you off consistency and you lose all that momentum that you spent the last 2 weeks building. You might still be spiraling on your webinars, not knowing if what you say or how you say it or the order of your slides will resonate with people because you simply don't know what would land, what ways of you saying will land. Even if you're already 1-2 years into running your online business, which is a clear sign that you don't know your messaging. So in my experience, a lot of invisible creators look at content creation as yet another high school subject to get an A+ on. They rewrite their bio like 15 times a month, spend an hour crafting one short form post because they really have to have everything there perfectly. And once they finally pluck up the courage to promote their offer for a day or for a few days, and then see only a few people or no one replying, they retreat for months and don't promote it again. I know because I used to be that person. My business was basically running on my dysregulated nervous system, constantly being reactive, creating content every day for that day, very impulsive with my decisions. And I have yet to find a business owner who was able to build a sustainable business, not just financially, but also, which is a huge part of what I teach in my programs, to your nervous system, who is that reactive. I was constantly disappointed at myself that even after a year and a half of posting and creating content, you would expect that I would have had some content creation skills that would actually help conversions. No matter how much I ranked up the volume, there were days, I remember I was living in Seoul 2023, I posted like 5 times a day and I switched up the slides in my webinar. Nothing seemed to have brought in more clients or better quality clients even. Till one day I decided, and this is just a decision, I know it's really uncomfortable, but it's a decision, to detach from the outcome. And look at content creation as this creative, constantly evolving loop, experimentation and a testing ground. I was finally no longer operating from perfectionism, which defined like the first 28, 30 years of my life. Because if you want to create content that's truly resonating, that has people say, oh my god, this speaks to me so much, like how do you know this? Do you have a camera in my house? And because those experiences, the way you phrase them, speak to them at such a level that they say, oh, so if he knows what I'm going through, then I already assume that he has the solution. They buy from you. How will you know which ways of you delivering, articulating your message, what specific experience or even exactly the self-talk that they are exhibiting at 3 a.m. when they are staring at the ceiling will resonate if you never even give it a chance and all your ideas are sitting in your drafts, or you don't expand on one type of content, try to rephrase it, say it in a different way because that one didn't land it the way you said it. And I cannot tell you how many times, like 8-9 times out of 10, whenever we have a content audit session, whether it's my program, a membership, my one-to-ones with my students, I need to say, this isn't specific enough. Can we make it more specific? Because with more and more coaches who are coming online and they are promoting their businesses, they are going to do their best to be consistent, trying to fight all the AI slop and all this generic content out there in the sea, in the ocean now of sameness. You're going to see people, heart-led creators, doing their best to show up authentically and also post value. So what is going to be your unique way of standing out and actually making sure that your content, that your ways of speaking, that your messaging ecosystem resonates with the right people? Relevancy. The difference between the coaches who constantly struggle, constantly chasing their client, posting, getting burnt out because of all the volume and the content they have to post, but still not seeing any results, and making sales actually easier, making buying from them easier as well, creating an ecosystem that constantly gets the right people's inquiries in, gets them to book a call, sign up on the newsletter or anything else we are promoting, is going to be courage to experiment and the discipline to be as uncomfortably specific as humanly possible, because you understand relevancy. Because in an age where your audience's brain is constantly bombarded with millions of pieces of information, and it's not just the content, it's all the sensory input to keep us from going insane, we have a built-in system that filters out whatever is not relevant to us and filters whatever we should be paying attention to. This system, called the Reticular Activating System, you might have heard of it, has only one job: delete anything that isn't dangerous, isn't interesting, or isn't relevant, specifically relevant to their current experience. So when someone posts generic content like, yeah, so you wake up tired in the morning, or, well, you haven't lost weight and you're upset about it. So the RAS, this is just noise. It doesn't help the creator stand out. It's abstract. This type of generic content requires way too much caloric energy for their brain to process what that message actually means for them. The bouncer kicks in and deletes that before it even gets into their conscious awareness. So the people, even some of your people, don't scroll past you because they don't like you. And I want you to completely delete, get rid of, flush down that thought, the toilet. They might scroll past you because biologically you might be invisible to them or your message. Now, there are several ways that we combat invisibility inside my membership, Impact, which is a messaging membership for any purpose-driven, heart-centered coach, mentor, or guide. And it starts with focusing less on having to be accurate, meaning when you mean you don't want to be specific because you're losing people, what you might mean is that you don't want to be specific because you don't want to get it wrong, when there's no such thing. Instead of saying, oh, so you wake up tired in the morning, you could say something like, you wake up feeling like you just ran a marathon in your sleep, more exhausted at 8 a.m. than you were when your head hit the pillow 6 hours ago, and you're looking at the coffee machine as it's making your coffee because your brain won't actually come online until that second cup of coffee hits your bloodstream. The goal with specificity, especially at the beginning, especially before like we posted at least 500, 1,000 pieces of content, isn't to be accurate yet. It's better if we are accurate, but it's just to be specific. Because by specificity, not necessarily describing that exact situation that they are going through, what we evoke is mental imagery. Again, we are speaking to the part of the brain that is able to be sold to. You might be thinking by being specific, you might lose more people. You're actually going to be more relevant to the right people because their reticular activating system is going to register it as, oh, this is speaking to completely what I experienced. We can always play around with numbers. We can always see how we can improve, how we can not just say things differently, but also see what we've already said and that seemed to have resonated with more precision. We can change from 8 a.m. to 6 a.m. if we know that our audience or our ideal clients are typically early birds. We can also change the 6-hour sleep to 5 or 7 hours sleep based on what we see from the data, from the feedback, so we get to be more precise with our descriptions. The only way we're going to actually do what we call master your audience in my membership is by leaning into this experimentation and the power of being uncomfortably specific. Perhaps you'll have to make 15 different pieces of content, all describing a different experience or the same experience in different ways. And you might have what you think is 13 posts that flopped, that didn't resonate, that were a failure, but at least you will have 2 that you have evidence from your audience, from your buyers, because you see the conversions, see people signing up, see people clicking, that's actually something you can double down on. Now, if you want to see some other ways you could play around with this and overcome this hurdle that I see in so many entrepreneurs who are not leaning into that discomfort of let's just try, let's just see if that resonates, I created a free PDF with a couple of the best tips that I will share with my students that get them people wanting to sign up, excited about working with them, not having to like hard sell, convince, coerce anyone into their programs. You can always find that in the first link in the description below. And let me know how this resonated. I'm always curious, and if you are going to find a way to incorporate this in your messaging as well. Thank you so much for making it through this video, and can't wait to see you in another one. They aren't scared of the camera or aren't scared of fuck. You might also fight yourself or still fight yourself. And once they finally pluck up the courage, because your brain won't